What's up, friends? Rob here. Today we're talking about the YoloBOX Extreme. You can tell by this setup we're going to have a big conversation. It's going to be a lot of fun, so let's jump into it now. Guys, I'm Rob with Robert Ham Photography. You know I do a lot of live streaming. I do a lot of live streaming of weddings, of funerals. I don't advertise those on the same website. I do a lot of live streaming for bands and corporate events, lots of stuff. And I got to tell you, YoloBOX has been my go-to for probably 4 years now, maybe 5. Go check the forums. I forget how long I've been using YoloBOX, but I've been using it so long that there are very few products out there that really replace it on my day-to-day work, mainly because of the inputs. Once you get over 2 inputs, something magical happens, and you begin to have what I consider to be a true multi-cam show rather than just a multiple camera recording. If that makes sense to you, today we're talking about the most powerful YoloBOX YoloLive has ever made. It's the YoloBOX Extreme. Okay, so with 8 HDMI inputs, it's got a very strong processor in here, the strongest that YoloLive has put in any of the YoloBOXes at this point in time. And we have the ability to do 4K 30 internal recording as well as streaming at the same time. This is excellent. When we think about those HDMI inputs, we've got 4 that are optimized for 1080p, that's inputs 1 through 4, and we've got 4 that are optimized for 1080 or 4K, which is 5 through 8. Working together and switching between them is seamless, and the color space looks great. I want to take a minute and go a little bit further, and I want to talk about the audio connection. I've got it opened up to the audio panel right now, and you can see that up here. Check this out. We've got our live meters, which are segmented, and the meters that are segmented are working on a per decibel basis, which is absolutely great. We also have a nice peak level indicator over here to tell us where we are, although it doesn't have a peak hold. So you kind of have to look around through those just a little bit to figure out exactly where you are, but it's pretty simple. As we continue over here, we've got a program, which is what your viewers hear, a monitor, which is what you hear, and then we have our audio inputs. The beautiful part about our inputs is they can be whatever devices are actually plugged into YoloBOX. In this case, I have one video, which is pulled up right here, and I also have one video camera, which is my HDMI 5. So I've got 2 video sources right now that I'm showing. One is an SD card video, and that's the one of Kaboombox. They're playing right here. And the other one, of course, is you. What you're seeing. Hi. So you're getting to see me so I can see and we can monitor and have some kind of inception going on. As you can see over here, once I switch, this audio, video 1 actually happens to have some audio to it. And if I were to turn it on by pressing the on button, you would now see that it's lit up over here green. This means that it's sending audio out to the program. This is absolutely outstanding. Now, if you were listening to both of those things right now, you would hear music in the background, rock and roll actually, with my voice over top, and it would not sound good. In order to fix that, in order to adjust that, since the video that I'm playing is on YoloBOX, on the SD card, I could come over here and just pull down the audio using that audio meter right there. It is as simple as that. And look, now we're over here at minus 40 decibels. Probably can't barely even hear it. Somewhere around minus 30 is where I like to be for background audio, 30 to minus 20, something like that. Actually, when you get up to minus 20 decibels, you're really falling into the softest parts of my spoken voice. So I generally choose to be somewhere around minus 30 to minus 20 at the max, usually minus 25, something like that. In any event, let's show you what else we can do. Now that we've got this audio right here, there is so much more going on. If we wanted to see this audio more directly, we could pull into a full panel, because now if we had all 8 sources connected, plus our line and mic, plus a couple of SD card videos, we'd have several different audio sources, many more to choose from than this, and we'd want to be able to see them all at one time to know what was doing what. Of course, we can also turn off the audio just like we did before. By turning it off, it now goes over to gray, which means it's still picking up audio but not sending it. There is this other little button called Audio Follows Video. If we go back out here, what we will notice is that the audio that's playing right now that's green happens to be the video audio. And notice my HDMI 5, if the video you were watching was internally recorded on YoloBOX, you would not hear me talking right now. I'm recording this externally on my camcorder. But with audio follows video turned on, when I switch, watch what happens when I switch. Now, HDMI 5 has gone green and the video has gone gray. Now, I recognize the video also stopped playing in the background. That's because I have it set to stop playing. But even if it were still playing, it would not show green, it would show gray, which means sending audio, but not to the program. It means that the video source, whatever it is, happens to have audio. I spend all this time on audio because, did you know we're not done yet? As amazing as all of this is, I'm going to turn off audio follows video because I don't want it on, or I don't want it on at all. And I'm going to come over here to this little button. The button that was up there is this audio properties button. Now, YoloLive has given us an extremely updated audio panel with YoloBOX Extreme. And this is because YoloBOX Extreme has so much processing power that we now get a general noise cancellation, which is turned on and off, that works almost unnoticeably. I would say that the only time you might even hear it is in the most egregious of cases where you're sending, where you have almost no levels set properly. If you set your levels anywhere close to normal, then the noise reduction feature will actually get rid of so much noise, it will make your recording very easy. And we'll come back to why that's important later, because if you're using this as a studio setup, that button right there is a lifesaver in your audio. It works wonderfully. But we're not done. We've got an audio gain where we can set additional gain for the entire unit. We also have mic in, where we've got our line and mic to do the same. So both of those things are repeated depending on a per channel basis. This is excellent, which means that if you had both a line and a mic in use at the same time, you could have different settings for both of them. And then we have an audio fade setting. If we go into our audio fade setting, we can choose how the audio will fade when the audio switches between microphones. And we've got it set to 1 second right now, but it can go up to 2 seconds or as quickly as 1/10 of a second. Okay. Now it's time for us to come back over to our sources panel. And oh boy, howdy, do we have a lot. By pressing the plus button, look at everything that we get. Before I go into adding new sources, look at that. 8 HDMI. I know you're as excited as I am. I want you to see this customized button. That customized button is my absolute favorite because from here we can actually build a scene much like you would in open broadcast software, OBS, which is the desktop live streaming software I'm most well versed in. I used it for probably 5 or 6 years, probably to getting into using YoloBOX, which meant I had to set a lot of things up manually, and one thing I got really good at was making scenes. Seeing the scene menu come to YoloBOX, specifically in Extreme, but it's there in all of the different YoloBOX options. So you get this software not just with the most expensive equipment, but you get it everywhere. Makes everything that you would want to do with Extreme easier. Because of the extra processing power, you can add more scenes, display more things, have more intricacies in your streams, and position them. I did a whole video on this earlier on the YoloBOX Ultra, which is a lot of fun. As we continue looking over there, we got all kinds of stuff. 8 HDMI, 2 USB, a USB-C. Look at all your video sources. We can add another video source, but we can also do NDI, RTMP, RTMP-S, SRT, and web. Web is awesome because with web, I'm going to come over here and type in my URL, my website. Okay, now that we've got the website typed in, check out what happens when I come over here to it. Look at that. We've got the entire website, and you notice this little finger button. First of all, take a minute to look at this layout. This 11.2-inch screen gives you so much real estate. It is just undeniable. You can have all of your videos in the left column, which allow you to scroll and choose between one or the other. Right now, I have a particular ripple window effect going on when I switch between them. So cool. But as we look even closer, when we come over here and tap that little finger button, now we can actually scroll. We can use the page forwards, page backwards, add just like your regular navigation bar, but specifically made for a touch interface on YoloBOX. Now check this out. As we're scrolling right here, if we wanted to see things like my wedding investment, we can come over here to my wedding investment page very simply. And through the wedding investment page, we can use this to show a bride or a groom or presentation, no matter where we are. There's quite a bit of different features and functionalities right here. I think this is an amazing option. Now, as we consider that, to get out of this, we just exit out. And I think I'm going to come back over here and leave it on one of my favorite things I want to show you guys. So we've got a nice title card right there. We can see how easy it is. Imagine the type of work that you're doing where you might need this. YoloBOX Extreme makes it simple because, did I mention it's got a 5-hour at least built-in battery? I have used this to stream for over 5 hours, 5.5 hours, and still had plenty of battery left. Now, I can't quantify that for you. I can just tell you that for me, streaming for 5 hours at a wedding or a funeral or a corporate event or something like that, or for a band, these types of things, having the built-in battery, which does not connect to the outside, allows this device to lay flat on the rubber feet, slightly elevated, giving it this metal aluminum enclosure, the ability to radiate that heat passively, meaning, man, I get great performance. And speaking of performance, if we scroll down from the top, we can see everything that's happening with the device right now, from the memory usage, CPU usage, temperature, battery left, and if we were streaming, we'd see all of our live time and all that stuff. We can even change, of course, the dim of the battery of the display screen. There just happens to be so many things going on. Let's talk about this real estate down here at the bottom. So we've got bonding. Bonding is something that you would do in order to stream multiple devices or stream from multiple devices. I mean, use the internet connection from multiple types of devices in order to have a stronger stream. So if you've got a USB dongle, a Wi-Fi from your phone, and a hotspot or Ethernet, which this of course has Ethernet, it could connect on all those ways. Bonding will cost you an additional amount. Depending on where you are, it may or may not be important to you, but that's bonding. All YoloBOX products have it, including YoloCast. YoloCast can share some of these features. Let's move over to the templates. So if you want to create a template, we have a full template creation suite. We just go over here, tap the template, come over here. We've got, as you can see, web URLs, YoloCast overlays, just like we were talking about. Web URLs would allow you to use graphics that you have at a specific hosted device. So if you've got a connection, you can pull that graphic and use it. Of course, the YoloCast overlays, just like the YoloCast product, it's for multiple platform live streaming in bulk without the YoloLive hardware, using your own hardware like your own computer, but with all the great features. Image overlays, which is what I usually use, lower thirds, countdown timer, titles, social overlays, time overlays, and video overlays. So video overlays allow us to bring a video in and use it as an overlay, like this particular one right here, the video, to any of our other video sources. This is huge because it allows you to lay a video on top of another video. So if you had exported videos that you had made specifically for different transition types, you could use that specifically as an overlay rather than have a video screen. That would allow the overlay to still be positioned and pull over top, which is really nice. Generally, your video is at one software level and your overlay is at another software level, and never the two shall meet. So if you had video that you wanted to use as an overlay, you wouldn't be able to use it without this particular function. That allows you more functionality and versatility. When we think about this as well, just to give you an idea of how to use an image overlay, I like my subscribe overlay, but I've got plenty of them. These have transparency. We'll go ahead and put this one right here. We'll call it done, and we'll put it right down there in the corner. We'll call that done. Now we've got an overlay that can pop up. What you don't see is how that overlay is popping up. Notice where we are right there. So I'll come over here, and now you can see that that overlay is right there on the screen. And if I wanted it to go away, I could just tap it again. Now, you can tap and hold it in the setup. If we were to edit this, we can actually turn on an auto hide duration. I'm going to take this down to 4 seconds, and I'm going to click done and done. And now when I click the overlay, notice 1, 2, 3, 4, and it disappears. Okay. So you've seen how that works. So can you imagine how when you plan your show, see, this is where the Extreme becomes so powerful. Because it has the extra hardware to handle all the HDMI inputs and everything else that it's going to do. It's got the extra CPU and RAM in there to do all of that. You've got a powerhouse publishing device. That means that you don't have to live stream, right? Everything we're doing could be you creating a show, creating a podcast, a video podcast, where you're recording the audio at the same time, good quality audio, or also in an audio interface. But you're also recording the multiple cameras that you've got. And you're producing a product by internally recording that is then ready to deliver. No post-production necessary. Think about that. Yes, it's true. What about if you are live and you want to have comments come through? So here's your comments panel right here. And if you had any comments, if I was live, there would be comments that could come through, as well as video switching. If I want this to switch, I can very easily come over here to auto switch. I can choose my video sources, and then I can tell it how I want to do it. So I've got my video sources each for 10 seconds, and it's going to loop over and over, and it's going to go sequentially, and then I'm going to go back and tell it to start auto switch. Boom. And now it will simply auto switch as we talk, so you'll see it auto switching. When we kind of talked about this audio panel, but we didn't talk about the background music. So check this out. I want some background music because I'd like to run that podcast like I was talking about. Come over here, I've got one loaded up on my SD card already. Boom, tap on it, click done. Now I've got background music that I can play at any point in time. Tap it and it's now playing. I have the ability to change the different disposition of wherever it is by moving it forwards or backwards, just like you might. And if I had additional sources here, I could choose which one I wanted to play when. It's pretty cool, actually. I'm gonna go ahead and stop that. Okay, so you might ask, how do you set the overall sound? And the sound level is set up there. So there's a small slider at the top, which allows you to set the sound. You have to look for it up there. So if you want to invite a guest, it's real simple. This is something that you pay for so much, right? Like, you will buy YoloBOX Extreme one time and you will love it, right? Especially if you do a lot of streaming. But if you're paying for that Weebly or that Boxy or that Boxcast or that Viver or that Vimeo, if you're paying for all of those just to get your live streams and stuff out, or what is it, StreamYard, if you're paying for those, you're just going to continue paying monthly and you never own it, right? So one of the things they say at those softwares that's a very big benefit is the ability to invite remote guests. Introducing invite remote guests, okay? Again, we're talking about hardware here, the YoloBOX Extreme, but this is software that you get with any of the YoloBOX hardware. In my testing right here, inviting 3-4 people at one time, switching over between them has been simple. Easy, it works. How do you do it? Well, you simply turn it on, invite guests, and you can invite 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just like you see right there. You put their email in and tell them to send. Your guests will get an email that says, hey, join. They can download an app if they want, but they can join from the web. And once they join from the web, next thing you know, all of these other things we talk about. Mute guest audio by default and allow participants to join. So you can choose if you want them to join immediately, or if you want to let them in at a specific time, or if you want to mute their audio or allow it to be on immediately. YoloBOX Extreme is awesome. It has become my immediate favorite device to use. It's impressive on site. Clients love this thing. The size is large enough for a group of people to look at. And as you can see here, I can send the output. So when I'm in a director's booth or control room situation, I can send the output over to the show producer that may need to see it if they're not directly in there with me while I'm running the live stream. This allows multiple ways of communication because I can see it on the screen, and HDMI can go to the control booth, another one can go to the producer or the owner or whoever has their own private showing, and we can all communicate about this, and we don't have to necessarily be in the same place. I like it quite a bit. Guys, I'm Rob with Robert Ham Photography. This has been an overview of how I use YoloBOX Ultra. These videos seem a little similar to the other ones because the software's so great, so similar, but the hardware makes this thing awesome. I love it. I want to thank you so much for watching. If you like this, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I answer all subscriber questions down below. If you want to send me a cup of coffee, do so through PayPal or a case of beer. I take that too. And get yours using the links I provide. Guys, I'm Rob. I'll catch you on the flip side. Bye for now.